from Dark Star Astrology, bringing you the new moon in Taurus on the 22nd of April. It will be at 3 degrees of Taurus and it will trigger a wide Saturn square Uranus, which will give us a taste of what's to come in 2021 when all this madness is over. So the Saturn square Uranus is the big aspect for 2021. So that will happen 3 times in 2021. And much like, the real marker of this year is definitely Saturn conjunct Pluto. But next year is really going to be all about this Saturn square Uranus. So before we look at that aspect, let's just get an idea of the new moon in Taurus. Now, new moon in Taurus is normally a lovely, lovely moon because it loves being in Taurus. It's all about the blossoming of spring. Taurus is all about, because it's a fixed sign, the season has really stabilized and established itself now. So it's not like a very cardinal energy, it's fixed. So we should also, I'm hoping, know where we stand with the crown flu. And I think things will stabilise and start to go down. I really do. I think now that the sun is out, and from what I know about it now, I've done quite a lot of research this week. I think the UV rays will do a lot to kill it because it just doesn't survive very well in the sun. So, sorry, somebody drove past with the music blaring. So in normal times, the new moon in Taurus Decan 1 means that family commitments will keep us on the straight and narrow. Having the responsibility of dependence ensures that we keep ploughing ahead and therefore avoid tempting but useless distractions. And now it's very easy to avoid that now, at least in the sensual physical world, but maybe there will be distractions online these days instead. But I think with this new moon, the abundance will keep flowing rather than stagnating. Otherwise, we would be tempted into immediate sensual pleasures rather than investing in the future. But since most of us are homebound now, this is going to be the perfect new moon opportunity to spruce up our nest. So this is a great time to look at real estate, as the Taurus new moon brings luck with family property. Storing money as bricks and mortar also means that there's a less temptation to spend it on frivolous activities. So generally then, caring for children will have a stabilising effect at this time. Now, the moon is exalted in this decan of Taurus, as well as it being generally, which sounds good and mostly really does promise material abundance. The only problem can be if things come too easily, we can be prone to complacency. In that case, the devil makes work for idle hands, and the indulgent and decadent tendencies could start to kick in. So the fixed star is Sheraton, which is actually in constellation Aries. It's one of the the butters, not as in butter that you put on bread. The butters, which are the 2 horns, and it's found along with another star called Mesarthim. These stars are of the nature of Mars and Saturn, with Sheraton, the wilder of the 2, which Robson says causes bodily injuries, unscrupulous defeat, destruction by fire, war, or earthquake. The Ebertons say that Sheraton is a daredevil and bold. Danger is indicated when acting impulsively and in a foolhardy way. So, when you put this star in such a plodding, cautious, prudent sign of Taurus, it probably does rein it back a little bit, but that energy is still there for this actual degree. So the main aspects to the moon are Moon square Saturn. It's the premature requirement to be self-sufficient. The mother may have been ill or unavailable, so that the child had to parent themselves or younger siblings. Of course, this is what some people are being forced to do now, with little access to national health services or convenience foods, unless you really want to queue up for an hour. Everybody's learning to cook, and I've noticed, things like flour and yeast. Oh my God, you can't get yeast anywhere. So I think this is a good thing. And also one observation as well about yeast and bread. Like I was really thinking that wheat was the root of all evil and trying to avoid it. But I've noticed since making your own bread, because I've got a bread maker, I think it doesn't give you the acid reflux or the bloating that you would normally get with shop bought bread. So obviously when you make it yourself, it doesn't have all the additives. So I just think that's the problem with bread. It's not really, when it's made from at home, it's fine. It really is fine. The other aspect for this new moon is the moon conjunct Uranus. Now this is shocking and changeable. Emotions often change in a flash. And Uranus stands for truth and revelation. So it could happen that those touched by this new moon will risk exile by speaking truth that the populace finds hard to accept. It is an aspect that doesn't really feel at home in the present moment because it's so far ahead of its time in its thinking. And we might not know the truth of this moment in history until afterwards, just like 9/11. I just think this is the 9/11 for these times, or for this generation. So summarising it, the moon is in a really fantastic position, but the aspects to this new moon are quite challenging. Now with the moon square Saturn and wide conjunct Uranus, we're being forced to make changes that we don't like. The moon conjunct Uranus will be getting cabin fever by now, so we might start to see some signs of civil unrest like we've already seen in southern Italy, with people looting, basically going into Lidl with some of them with guns. I think they're kind of the mafia types. But it all depends on the strength of the home. Strong families will become more tightly bonded while weak ones could be going stir crazy. And this is a make or break time for relationships as well, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. Now the new moon alignment with the fixed star Saturn makes this ram hard to contain. As Manalist says, it wants to venture and also likes to plunder. So hence we might see we might see supermarket looting in places where it hasn't happened yet. The Yellow Vest movement and the Hong Kong protests had to stop due to the panda sickness, as I'm calling it now. Pandemonium, get it? Or pandemic. Those issues have not gone away, however, and an aspect of them, these movements, might flare up during this new moon cycle also. Okay, welcome to my sunny bathroom. I wanted to go somewhere that's sunny, and I'm sorry if it's a bit echoey, but it matched my lipstick. So that's why. Anyway, I want to talk about positive things because I've seen so many. I think the hysteria has been really, really, really ranked up. I used to check World Meter every other day, and it just got more and more depressing. But I'm all right. I'm not a doctor, but I have been listening to some different doctors' opinions, so that's really good. And they've really set my mind at rest because I'm someone who's a hypochondriac. I always have been. It's a family thing. My grandma used to always go on about us going out in the rain and you'll catch pneumonia. So it's just something that's been drummed into me too much. So the gift that this crown thing has given me is it's helped me take control of my body and not think that I need a doctor, that the doctor knows better than I do. You know, this kind of awe of white coats. So that's the number one gift. But saying that, the people I've been listening to are doctors, but it just goes to show how many doctors have so many different opinions about this, and yet we only are allowed to hear the approved opinions on mainstream media. So yeah, I've made that mad journey really from thinking first it was a biological weapon. which no one really wants to think that, because then that's high panic, because you don't know what it can do, you can't predict it, it could wipe out humanity. You know what I mean? It's just the worst case scenario. Then the other one is that it's true, but it's highly contagious and it's deadly, which it turns out it's actually not. The problem is nobody knows its death rate, because we don't know how many people have actually contracted it. Then there's the other highly optimistic view from Andrew Kaufman, and I'm still not sure. I'd love to believe what he says is true. He says there's no such thing as viruses, therefore you can't even catch it, because it can't live outside the body. So, you know, that's the track I was taking. But something in me thinks, I believe that about 80%, but how much of this is wishful thinking? Then I listened to, and I will put these, just go to my Twitter feed. I'm not going to put the links underneath this, because YouTube just, you know, you're in danger of you know, not meeting their guidelines. So just go to my Twitter feed, because I don't care if I get chucked off Twitter, but I do care if I get chucked off YouTube. A couple of other doctors, one guy from India and one guy he's an Asian doctor. He was saying that it's not a new virus. It's just the name I'm just trying to say it in a way that, anyway, that is not the name of the iris. It's the name of the illness. And they took a long time naming it, because they wanted to get the right name, because that was so important somehow. But really what they should have called it's SARS. It's SARS-2. It's the same virus. He said it's 90% the same as that, which we've already, well, not everybody's had, but it's not new. And when that happened, did the world go into lockdown? No. So obviously there's lots of things going on at once. I don't think it's just this. I don't think it's just oh, hang on, let's call the telecommunication one. I'm calling that cinquegamma. Work that one out. Cinquegamma. It's not just cinquegamma, because if you talk about, but the thing is, if you talk about cinquegamma with the crown, if you put those two together, you'll get banned. So that does tell you something. Plus, if you look at the maps where it is, you will find higher rates of this this thing. So there's that. But I think there's many things going on at once. Just another thing that just made me wonder as well. It's like, Boris Johnson, he's risen. First I thought, oh my God, they're going to poison him. I got completely conspiracy theory and thought, oh my God, he was a good guy and they're going to poison him. And no, part of the story, he's the poster boy, isn't he? So he's come out and he's all like, the NHS saved my life. And normally, I'm sure he wouldn't have gone to an NHS hospital for a start. That's a National Health Service, by the way. Normally, I'm sure he would have had private doctors, but no, he had to go in there and so, you know, but he's still saying, but stay indoors, because I could have died, but it was 50-50 that I've come out alive. So yeah. So, and also another thing, don't take my word for it, and I don't take anybody's word for it, but I listen to so many different people, and I'm glad, because it means that I think you get you can sort of get a middle balance through all of them. And I went for a stage of listening to David Wilcock. Oh God, so my Gemini rising just gets bored of things. And sorry, sorry if some people think he's all right, but this belief in the white, what do they call the white hats, are going to save us all. No, they're not. And the fact that both Trump and Boris Johnson are really pushing 5G. So that's a no-no. Unless, they might be okay guys, but they're a bit stupid. I don't put my trust in them. They obviously don't have the IQ levels that are necessary to get us out of that, because I think that would just be the worst thing. We've got enough EMFs going along as it is without that. Thank you very much. So they're, and same with David Wilcock. No. Having said that, there is a guy, is it Benjamin Fool? Yeah, I mean, I think he's all right. Some of the things he says are very interesting, put it that way. But this kind of Trump is the savior, and he's playing 5D chess, 4D chess, whatever, 5G chess. Again, we all would love to believe that, and Q and on, nah, I think that's I just don't believe it either. So, the good thing is though, is that there's plenty of balanced opinions out there, and I think I've found a lot of magic out there, and you'll see it on my Twitter feed. These people have been really inspiring. Another thing as well that really, and I don't know because the figures only go to the end of February, but you can look at your death rates. I looked at the UK death rates. Maybe they haven't put them all down yet, but that's how you can really judge this, because you can't judge by cases. Anything, any sneeze, any cold could be, and the tests, they also, I just don't think they're accurate either. So you can only go by death rates. And I looked at England's for this February, and we were well into it by then. I mean, I know it hasn't peaked yet, apparently, but they are less than they were last year. 43,000 people died in February of 2020, and in 2018 it was 49. So it's not above. And then I was looking at the flu figures also for the US, because they keep records of actual deaths of influenza, and it's not unusual for kids to die of flu. It does happen. So they give all the figures, they break them down by age. Have a look, just to put some perspective on this. I may be eating my words in 2 months' time, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think this is the Spanish flu all over again. The Spanish flu was, again, I'm not a doctor, but I do think it was exacerbated by the war. I mean, it's a bit, happening at the same time as the World War. Of course, the death rates are going to be high. So, how much of that was masking the war? And, figures can be fiddled anyway. So, now I'm not so worried. I don't panic every time I go to a supermarket. I'm going to carry on with the, wearing gloves, and also I've still got antibacterial wipes, because I don't really want to get flu, So that's one good thing. It's raised awareness of getting flu and how you get it, if that's the case. But so that doesn't do any harm. But I'm not going to go out wearing a bloody mask to walk in the park in the sunshine when I'm not going to be anywhere near, other people or an enclosed space. That's insane. And when I see people walking around, I just feel so sorry for them, because they look panicked. And if you have to go into a gate, and you know, if you walk just a little bit too near each other, they're like, oh, and that's no way to live. To think that other human beings are toxic, that's really, really sad. And obviously that's the idea, you know. So no, instead of all this fear mongering, why don't they tell us how to build up our immunity? Why don't they, you know, reassure us? But no, they don't. They just ramp it up. Yeah, anyway. So, but just ask yourself that, you know, why, if it really, 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 really was so contagious, then why are the aeroplanes still flying over my bloody house? I mean, there's less of them. You can't hear them. It's actually nice and peaceful. But there still are. And obviously, the passengers are not 2 meters apart. People that work on those aeroplanes, you know, no. And I'm sure the pilots, what, is there only one pilot in there? Because they can't, I'm sure they can't sit 2 meters apart on a quite small aeroplane. And yet they're going on about, oh no, you see the post is going to be late because they can't have 2 postmen in a van anymore sitting next to each other. Yet they can with pilots. Nah, nothing makes sense. So get that sunlight. This is the sun, I love it. So yeah, that's it. that's my rant for this beautiful Taurus moon. Get out in nature and enjoy the sun. All the best. Bye bye.